Ever wondered what lurks below the surface of a river?
Water, remember? More oxygen in colder water. You should remember that from earlier. So the other way is by activity.
Here, teacher Nancy Sather from Metropolitan State University takes some of her students on a field trip to find out. Nancy has been an ecologist with the Minnesota DNR for over 20 years and an instructor of natural history and environmental studies.
Organisms that are most sensitive to low oxygen levels and to pollution and having a lot of mud in the water are the ones that have big conspicuous gills. The organisms that are least sensitive are things like there's a kind of member of the dipteran family, remember the flies and mosquitoes, called chironomids, and they are red. We have some handouts that show you organisms that are tolerant to different levels of pollution.
By finding these little critters, you can tell the health of the river.
Those pans, they need to have water in their pan. These are aquatic organisms. They get their oxygen out of the water, not out of the air. So I need a pan, please. Thank you, Lisa. Now, we'll put some water in here. Now I can take my thing and I can turn it upside down. And I can go like this and get my organisms out. So that's one way to get organisms. There's a couple other ways to get organisms. What? So now let me show you what happens when I got the largest rock I can get. All right. A little mayfly attempted to sneak away and hide. It's been in my hand.
He's behind.
Where is he?
Here.
Is he behind? No, that's
No.
my caddisfly. So where'd my mayfly go? Well, let's see if we can get him to come off by doing this. Into the water as fast as you can. So I have a little flat mayfly on here. They're flat because they are in that surface underneath the stone, between the stone and the water. But I also have another organism here that you might not recognize as an organism. And it's this thing. Caddisflies are super neat aquatic insects because they make various kinds of homes. So this caddisfly, this little bunch of rocks, was pulled together, netted together by a little living organism. And if he's still in here, if we were to open this up, we would find what looks like a little worm. It's going to have 3 feet at the front end because these things are insects, right? Mm-hmm. And so caddisflies can build houses out of very, very small grains of sand, out of little rocks about this big. Wow. But they also build houses out of tiny little pieces of vegetation. And so it'll look like a little log or lined, made a little tube. If you look inside, there's often a little green worm-like looking thing. Now I want you to look at the difference in aquatic habitat. Where one person holds the net and the other suffers up the water. Here, Jack, you have me papers for now. You can get your hands in the water.
Okay. And she's done. I'll put mine in there.
She doesn't smack me with the pole first.
A lot of fun ones in here.
Good? Yeah. You see it run? It walked it. It's in there. I saw it swim.
So I want to get a little bit of water in there before I dip it because it's easier.
Ready?
And then you turn the net inside out.
And dip it.
And dip it. And you can kind of peel it. Sometimes they get stuck on the sides or in the corners right here. Like this buddy who's hiding. Come on.
That's really...
A lot of movers and shakers.
Yeah, we do.
Come on.
So organisms hang out inside them. So of course the trick is just to keep looking and see if you see anybody moving here.
Mm-hmm. I thought the little sprout was cute.
Isn't that cute? Mm-hmm. The first time that I ever went on a trip like this with Dr. Wiggins, who was from the University of Ontario, here's a caddisfly. See how many quote-unquote tails he's got.
something too.
This one is a mayfly. That's a good guy to have. Submerge that a little so he doesn't. Okay, yes, you're right. You got a caddisfly case, and you got a caddisfly inside. Good for you, Rose.
Yeah.
That's neat. We better keep that rock.
Okay.
So, mayflies.
Oh, and
You
I've
know,
got one of
Lisa
those
knows
fingernail
them.
things on my hand.
You got a fingernail clam. Well, I'll stick it in the net for now because we don't have our bucket. We should get a bucket.
Yeah.
Oh, this may actually be a spin nets. Have you seen this? Look at this. Isn't that cool?
Oh wow!
I have never
It
seen
is an actual net.
It is an actual net.
Let's see. It is.
It is an
you mean
actual net.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah, that is.
totally cool.
Wow, that is really cool.
And what does that mean?
Well, so the caddisfly spin nets, they always say that, but usually by the time you find the net, it's so full of
Oh,
junk
and then look at all
that
the
you
eggs.
can't see that it's a real net.
Oh.
But when you look at this one, you can see this is a real net. That is totally cool.
And then
Here,
the eggs
Tara,
on the
see?
You wouldn't. How come you wouldn't touch it, Nikki? You were like,
I don't do bugs.
Here's another one.
It made
like
me
bugs
get
at all.
it.
Cup over the thingy, please.
Okay. Bugs is one of the things I refuse
Wow.
I
to
want
eat.
to
what
be
is that?
helping those because I found a lot of those.
There.
That's the
In
only
case
thing
you
I know
have
that
some
was
more
the same.
organisms.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
Yeah, if you found any leeches, that would indicate that the water was not so good.
You should try to get a big, the big
Mayfly!
Okay, mayfly.
Got it.
Okay, who's got these?
These are good.
Who's got these?
But I want to get rid of some water if I'm going to combine them because I don't want them to come.
Wow.
You need a cup
Ooh,
for
what's this one?
mayflies.
This guy looks like he's having trouble.
Okay. I'm gonna
Can I
get
have a
this.
different cup?
Mhm.
Have water.
Yeah, because I think that's a.
Caddisfly.
Let's see. Wow.
Let's see the caddisfly.
It's a green
Oh,
This looks like a centipede, doesn't
That's
it?
the one.
We have to figure out who
What
those
are,
big
what are
guys
those,
are.
like,
So
gills?
Their gills at the bottom.
That's
The
their
gills, I think their gills, if their gills are on their tails, they are damselflies.
But they're on the
Let's
bottom.
look
They're
at
on
the
the bottom.
pictures. They have gills on the bottom.
Yeah, and they have like little things, but maybe
Are
that
there
just helps
gills in their armpits?
I think so. And on their belly, though.
And
Wow.
we do need to pass this around so we can
Wow.
look in at their gills.
Is that big?
Yeah, I didn't realize
Wow.
it, but everything, the gills where they are, and the two quote-unquote tails, are these ever gorgeous. So take a look at these gills. You're not going to see gills like that. So let's pass him around so you all have a chance to look at him. He's pretty unusual to see. So, you know, one thing is you can take these
me too.
papers home with you. You probably want to write water scorpion on your paper. If you look at these snails, you see they're a completely different kind of snail than the ones they have illustrated. So snails kind of come in two morphological types. If you look at the pictures that you have of snails on your black and white drawings, you see they're the kinds with the little pointy shells, whereas these are the kinds with the little whirly around shells, okay? And for the purpose of this monitoring, you turn your picture.
Love you, snail.
Okay. For the purpose of this monitoring, we're only dealing with the ones with the pointy shells. So this snail, although we found snails, he doesn't count in this group of monitoring things, okay? According to this way of doing it. And if you sort of think about looking at it, that seems, from my experience, to be about right. Now, one thing that you might want to consider that is not taken into consideration here, if you were writing a report about this river, is who did we find the most of?
Stoneflies.
Stoneflies and mayflies. So even though by presence or absence of the species, this comes out as a fair river, that by quantity of organisms that we encountered, there were a lot more in the sensitive category. So, you know, it's a little hard to quantify some of these kinds of field studies. It's not like doing a nice, neat bird feeder project, right? You're not doing a controlled experiment. So often the way that they handle something like this is to have observations in a unit time frame, like how many could so many people find in such and such a period of time, and then you would have to have the same group of people taking the same amount of time every time. Or sometimes they'll have a little frame and they'll lay it down in the river. You actually get everything out of a unit area. How many per square meter? Now, which of those is the better method? Yeah. Why? It's less variable. You don't have, anybody could do that. You don't have to worry about observer.
Thanks to all who took part in our program, and thanks to you for watching Along the Way with Rosie.